You ever thought about what exactly goes through a man's mind when the tables turn, like when you're no longer the one chasing, carrying the relationship, keeping the conversations going? What goes through his mind if you just stop showing interest all of a sudden? Now, of course, I'm not talking about ones that you're not interested in. We already know what they're thinking about. How do I win this girl back? They're going to try some tips, some tricks and all of that. But what about the guy who showed interest in you and you were receptive as well, but then suddenly he falls back now? What would happen if you just say, you know what, I've had enough of his games? I'm not showing any more interest in him. If you ever wonder what goes through a man's mind when that happens, if you were to pull him on him, I'm going to tell you in this video. But first off, if something like this ever happened to you, like if you've had a man who just stopped showing interest in an effort to play hard to get, let us know how you handled that situation in the comment section down below. All right. With that said, let's talk about the 3 main thoughts a guy has when you stop talking to him. Number 1, why? All right. So the first thought running through a man's mind when you cut off communication with him is just, why? Now listen up close, because this is important when you go ghost on him out of nowhere. That man is sitting there racking his brain, trying to figure out what the hell happened. Why did this happen? Why did she fall back like that? His mind is spinning, searching for any little crumb that could explain. Your sudden silence, he's reliving every interaction. Every conversation, every moment between you. 2, digging for clues. Did I say something to offend her? Did I do something to mess this up? Was it something I didn't do that made her lose interest, see at the core? A man just wants to understand the situation. We're problem solvers by nature when something seems off in our world. Our first instinct is to get to the root cause. So when you overnight switch to giving him that silent treatment, it triggers that curiosity that need to analyze and make sense of it all, and depending on the type of man, he is that. Why will manifest differently? A mature, self-aware man may actually take accountability and think, did I miss something here? Where did I slip up or make her feel unsafe to keep this going? But for the immature guys out there, they are probably thinking some B's like she must be playing games or she's tripping for no reason. Either way, that why is eating away his thoughts. His mind is working overtime, trying to solve the mystery of what made you just dip out on him like that. Because logic tells him something must have caused this reaction. He just hasn't pinpointed the what yet, so that initial thought is, why did this happen all right? Now let's move on to number 2. What does this mean for me now? Second, in that lineup of thoughts running through a man's mind when you'll stop talking to him is, what does this mean for me? See, once that initial, why did she fall back? Question gets asked. The next thought that comes into a man's head is to assess the impact. Okay, she's not hitting me up or responding to my texts anymore. What does this mean in terms of me and what I'm losing out on at this point? His brain is starting to get selfish with it. We're thinking about how this situation affects us directly, and our mind automatically goes to taking note of whatever benefits, intimacy, or advantages we were getting from you. For some guys out there, it might be like, does this mean I don't get laid with her anymore? Was she just my passer around a chick that got tired of the games? See what I'm saying? He's focused on whatever pleasure or physical intimacy he's about to be missing out on for others. It could be. She was my partner, my listener. Who am I going to open up to like that? Now, maybe you filled an emotional need. He had whatever the situation was. His internal thoughts are going to reflect on what role you played in his life, what needs you were meeting, and how he's about to be missing out on that. An immature man's thoughts will be purely self-centered here, but a high-value mature man may actually consider the loss of a potential life partner, someone who could have been great for him long-term. It all depends on his level of consciousness, but you best believe that the "what does this mean for me?" question gets asked and unpacked to the fullest. Men always think about how a situation benefits or takes away from them as individuals. First, so you already know, that's a major thought he's wrestling with once you ghost him. If you found this video helpful so far, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. All right, now let's move on to the third and final thought. That's going through a man's mind when you stop talking to him. Number 3, how do I get her back? See whether this guy truly valued you or not. chances are he still doesn't want to lose out on whatever role you played in his life. Even if you were just his side chick for casual hookups, the thought of how can I regain access to that is inevitable for the emotionally unintelligent man. This third thought will be rooted in manipulation. Tactics his mind will be cooking up little schemes like, all right, what worked to reel her back in before when she slips away? Let me try that again. Maybe it was some grand romantic gesture that hooked you initially, or possibly some pity play trying to make you feel guilty for abandoning him. An immature man's go-to move will be to recycle some old trick that worked on you or an ex in the past. Men with lack of emotional awareness love to keep repurposing the same playbook instead of actually growing as men, but an evolved man who actually sees your worth. His pursuit to regain your attention will be way more. Genuine his mind will be focused on, how can I realign myself to provide her with the safety care and presence she needs? What did I miss before that? I need to improve, and you'll sense that his intentions are authentic, not just recycled mind games. See at the end of the day whether we admit it or not. Us men crave that feminine energy in our lives, that nurturing, that emotional support, that sassiness and spice you naturally bring. So when you cut it off, there's an instinctive thought of how can I get that source of positive feminine energy back in my life? For some, the methods of pursuing that will be toxic and manipulative. But for others, the pursuit will be rooted in accountability and a desire to actually show up as a better man for you. It all depends on that guy's level of emotional intelligence. So there you have it. The three main thoughts running through a man's mind when you suddenly stop responding and communicating with him. I broke it all the way down for you ladies out there because you deserve to understand how we think. When you stand in that power, whether the guy gets his act together or not, at least you've got insight into what's going on in his mind when you make that move. If you liked the video, why not like and subscribe? It's sure to help the channel and motivate me to continue doing what I do. If, on the other hand, you didn't like the video, please let me know in the comments below so that I can improve my mistakes. As always, you've all been fantastic. Stay tuned for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.